What's up, everybody? Evil Spectrum 3. A lot of people know that. Well, I'm gonna leave on the screen Bloodshed, who's streaming right now. It's really cool to see guys from the community that I've played with before. Um, guys like Wolfcrier, Bloodshed, Riker, Quinn69. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of guys. I've actually never met Quinn or ever played with him at all, but some of the guys that you play with before get to play this game so quickly. I mean, these are the guys that have really been sort of carrying Diablo 3, streaming-wise and podcast-wise. There's a few other ones that didn't get an invite. That would have been cool if they had gotten to play as well. But I wanted to give my initial thoughts on this as I sit here and watch Bloodshed stream right now, and about Diablo 4. So what we've seen so far. And I'm trying to remember it all, and I'm really going to spend the rest of the day kind of trying to go through everything, all the news, the talent trees, the different functions, the skills. Stats is a big thing that people really wanted to see, and I don't know if we just aren't able to see them in the same way that we used to, or if that's just not implemented yet in this game. I see them there on the bottom for the armor numbers and things like that, but I don't know if there's a more detailed graph or live, numbers graph or stats graph that we can take a look at. I don't know if, and maybe I missed it, and I could have, because things are very, initial right now as I react to these things. But it's funny because I can remember being back at this sort of same spot in a way back in 2012 for Diablo 3 before it was released. And here we are. It's 2019. But, yeah, so a lot of people saying, that they like this. Like, I see attack right there, 1,765. I see levels. I don't think you can level up in these demos. I think they mentioned that while running these demos. But let's listen in real quick for a minute.
When BlizzCon's over and I can't play anymore? What? What?
I've seen this cinematic a lot.
Plus
as
one skills is back, Pog? Yeah, man.
starts the same kind of way with the demo, so it's going to get repetitive on that. But yeah, so one of the things that a lot of people are saying things like, well, this looks like Diablo 3, it definitely looks like Diablo 3, but it looks like Diablo 2. It's much darker, much grittier. This is definitely this is definitely more along the lines of Diablo 2, but it what it reminds me of is, it literally reminds me of. So I want to say that I like it. First off the bat, I keep trying to figure out where I want to start here, but let me back up. I want to say that I do like it. I like what it looks like. It's a little bit plain right now, but it looks cool. It looks like Diablo. I'm into it. I like the fact that it's kind of like Diablo 3, but it does, harken back a little bit to the Diablo 2 stuff that we used to love. I think a lot of people always talk about PoE, and they talk about how PoE is, the real follow-up to Diablo 2, and that they enjoy it. But I think it's kind of like PoE is like Diablo 2, like, gone out of control, right? Like, it's gone completely off the rails, completely out of control, and it's like a giant math equation. It's too overwhelming for me. But players who are really into some of the aspects of Diablo 2, can really dive into PoE. But many casual players and people, the average player, I feel like, isn't able to really transition into PoE. It's just too difficult, and it's just too slow in the beginning, and they give up on it. So while I feel like a lot of Diablo 2 players felt that PoE was the sequel to Diablo 2 they really wanted, instead they got Diablo 3. But I feel like Diablo 4 here is the sequel to Diablo 2, but in the world of Diablo 3, if that makes any sense. So these are like two meshing together. It really does look like that. It looks like the mechanics of Diablo 3, but with the feel of with the look and the old feel of Diablo 2, with upgraded environment, and elements and things like that. So there's an upgraded interaction environment. There's a little bit of an open world feel that looks like to it, where you can work with people. There's going to be, they say there's going to be PvP, but everybody remembers PvP launch for Diablo 3. It wasn't there. You know, they had said at launch, you know, PvP's coming. And from what we understand too, here's another big thing about this. This was a key thing that they mentioned on the panel to me. They said this was and all the streamers have said this too, this is a very early demo, you know, and I don't know what that means. They're not using words like beta or things like that. They're just saying early demo. So does that mean that they're a little bit further away from this game than we thought? There has been no date yet announced for this. I've seen everybody asking about it. There's been no date. There's been no mention of it. There was no hint of like, we're not going to tell you. You know, we have no idea. It's none of that. And we don't have a date. And that's the thing it's bugging the hell out of me. It's going to be the probably the number one question is what date? When does this game come out? And I want to go to the Diablo website because there's so much stuff to look at that I feel like a lot of people haven't even looked at yet on the site and on some of the informational boards that they posted about. There is a Q&A coming up, but there's more to it than this. Yeah, here's Diablo 4. So here's the website. Here we go. Let me see. Is this okay, so I got to enter in my birth date or whatever. Okay. Okay. I'll figure this out. I know how to use a mouse. We'll figure it out. Okay, so I've verified my age, and I'm still waiting to get in. I don't know why I can't get in. Year, month, day. I don't know what's going on, why it's not letting me in, but we'll figure it out. There we go. There we go. I was digging the cinematic too, for sure. I thought it was pretty badass.
Surrender.
This part was really cool. Obviously.
Speak the words. Blessed Mother.
Yeah, baby.
Us.
This is great. I am so ready for the, like, I mean, man, I'm such a Diablo, like, I've been a Diablo fan since the first game. But, you know, I've, you know, got hooked on Diablo 2, of course. By Diablo 2, you realized I love this franchise. So we come to the page in the introduction. Let's see here. So introduction, classes. This is really cool, by the way. If you haven't checked this out on the site, it's very cool. Classes, we got Sorceress, Barbarian, and Druid. And, you know, the Druid's going to have the ability to kind of morph and all these different things. I don't really care that much about that myself. I know some people love that stuff. They're like, wow, it's going to be so cool. I'm a bear. I'm a werewolf, you know, all these things. You know, I don't care. I think it's kind of cool. Don't get me wrong. I don't care that much about it. My biggest thing in these games is always loot. And I really love that about Diablo 3 was the idea of going in and finding a new piece of gear that helps my character. it was a little bit more linear or two-dimensional, I guess, because it's like, here's the pieces you need, that's about all you can do, and that's it. There's a lot more like, theory crafting or whatever you want to call it, or mixing and matching and mixing and, things like that. And one of the things sometimes in games like that where like anybody can make a build, people argue about what build's the best, and sometimes it almost doesn't matter what build you have because so many builds function really well, and at a certain point you do hit a ceiling. So that's my only worry about stuff like that is when you hit that ceiling, if you do hit it. In Diablo 3, the thing about it is you can hit that ceiling in Diablo 3 as well, but even my character, my Demon Hunter in Diablo 3, it's like I don't have primal weapons on it. I don't have primal everything. I have, I'm still missing quite a few primals that I could use or max stats on certain things. There's still a lot more to do, and I wish it was a little bit easier to do some of that. But anyway, I'm getting off the rails again. So far, I mean, probably Sorceress. It looks like the most exciting to me at this time. I want something like Demon Hunter to be in this game, so I'm hoping there's like an assassin or something like that where, or somebody's got a bow and arrow or that sort of ability, because it's something that I've ended up growing into loving, because I was a big Druid fan in Diablo 2, but now I find myself loving Demon Hunter, and now I want to carry that class over. And I felt like when Diablo 3 came out, I was like, where's my Druid? And I was like, who do I pick? I was like, maybe I'll be the the monk. I guess maybe I could be the monk or the wizard. And I think I went to go wizard at first for a few, and then and barbarian, and then I quickly tried Demon Hunter, and then just was like, I love Demon Hunter, and I've been Demon Hunter since 2012. So now we're here in Diablo 4, and I don't know. But anyway, you're here for the gameplay. I mean, we've seen a lot of the gameplay. We don't need to go into the demo. You've seen it probably. But here's some of the world. We're going to get this kind of open world situation, I guess, where you can have mounts. There's going to be horses and mounts and excuse me, I'm dying. I'm sure the story's going to be good, but it's going to be non-linear, I guess. So you can continue the story and leave the story and then go into doing things. You don't have to just play the entire story to get to, let's say like in Diablo 3 with adventure mode, when they added adventure mode later. You can just Diablo 3 really relied initially on you playing Act 1 through 4, and then after that, just kind of replaying acts and going to places. It was pretty easy to figure out where you wanted to go with mob densities and things like that for certain things in Diablo 3. For whether it was, gold farming wasn't even a thing at all almost. I mean, that just went out the window pretty quickly after not too long in the game. I mean, the Real Money Auction House messed that up a little bit too from the beginning, obviously. But this will be very interesting to see what happens in this world, in this place. And yeah, I'm just really excited. I mean, I think it looks really dark. But again, it does look like it is almost like if you took Diablo 3 and made it like, hey, let's take Diablo 3 and make it Diablo 2 and then upgrade everything a little bit. And that's to me what it is, which to me is not a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. I think there's some people out there finding it bad, but most of the comments I'm getting about the game are positive. I mean, most of what I see is pretty positive. It's not very negative. I mean, I've seen thousands of comments by now. Thousands, hundreds, thousands, and there are some people that are like, oh, it looks kind of like D3, but I mean, I don't think that they're I don't see a zoom in feature. People are asking about zoom in. I don't see a zoom in feature right now, but it's a demo. It's an early demo that could be in the game for people that care about that. It looks like Diablo 4 may, I'm not even sure about the release date. I'm trying to guess, and I'm just thinking to myself, the fact that they're not even announcing when, like a date or a year, tells me that we could be looking at 2021 here. A lot of people thought maybe 2020. Actually, I take that back. It could be 2000. It's got to be 2021. That's got to be it. I can't see this coming out in 2020. With the fact that they're so, like, they basically said this demo is one of the earliest demos we've ever shown anybody. And that's crazy because Blizzard normally likes to perfect everything before they release it out anywhere. So to me, it's like there's a lot of work to still be done. They want to get a lot of feedback from everybody before they go forward with some things, it seems like. And to me, if you're at that stage, I believe that you're about a year and 3 months away from launch at that point. So we're in November right now, so yeah, I would expect a 2021. Diablo 3 released in May of 2012. So I'm assuming that Diablo 4 will probably launch. I'm going to bet summer of 2021. That's my guess. Summer or spring probably, but I'm going summer of 2021. And that's a little ways away. And I don't know how true that is yet. I don't know if there'll be something else that we don't know about. I would assume that if we were going to get something else announced, that they would have announced it and we would have heard about it. I desperately hope that, and I'll put you back on the screen here with Bloodshed. He's still playing live on Twitch, so shout out to Bloodshed. I'm still saying that if it is that far away, which I really do think it is that far away based on this information, I would be mega surprised if this game was coming out anywhere in 2020. If they said to me that, Diablo 4 coming Christmas 2020, I would be blown away by that and mega excited. That would be really exciting news. I am of the belief that, again, like I said, 2021 summer, and even that may be wrong. We could be talking 2022, some people think. I don't agree with that. I really got to believe it's coming out by summer of 2021. So that's my guess. And so again, I like the classes. I hope there's a few more classes that I like added to it. There's 3. We know there's going to be 5, and I'm sure there'll be add-ons later on. And I hope that at some point we can get a D3, something for D3, believe it or not. My son's down here. I know that's weird and greedy and strange to ask for, but I hope we see something like that. The other thing was, again, the beam. I mentioned the beam on the legendaries. You'll see it here if Bloodshed ends up killing something with a beam. For a legendary, if a legendary drops. The legendary drops, you see the beam, and it's a small beam. It's about, I want to say on your screen, it's about an inch or two high. As opposed to the Diablo 3 beam, which was a very glowing, vibrant, beautiful glow to the sky. And that was actually something I liked about Diablo 3. I didn't like all the lighting that was so very, World of Warcraft and kind of like just like the Overwatch, the current Blizzard look that we see on almost everything. But I don't, and I know that that's probably why they scaled back the beam potentially in this. But, it seems a little bit more underwhelming when you see the beam, when you see that. Because you're so used to this big, bombastic, glowing beam. And I know that this is a bizarre thing. Like, this is like an aesthetic thing that most people maybe don't care. Because in most games, things just drop and it's a color and that's about it. It's a name with a font highlighted green or purple or yellow or whatever. But I love that exciting feeling of something special dropping and beaming like it does, And so, yeah, I hope that they add on to that. I hope they make the beam a little bigger. I'd almost like it too if it illuminated the area, like a little bit bigger. So that's something that I want to see, and I know that that's weird. I know that that's weird aesthetics, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to finding out a lot more information so I can do a longer podcast on kind of breaking these things down. And, this reminds me back to when Diablo 3 was announced, and I started listening to a guy named ShiBUM. He created this little podcast with Red Team Gaming. His name was ShiBUM. And to this day, I'm still looking for Sibco. I don't know whatever happened to him, but he did this great State of Diablo 3 series that I really, really enjoyed. I loved listening to it. He did such a great job about talking about it. And to this day, it was so good that even though it's completely irrelevant to anything going on now, I'd love to go back and listen to that guy's podcast on Diablo 3. I don't know what it was, but listening to that guy on Diablo was so fun. And he did not. I don't think he understood the value of his show. I think he kind of went, it's not that good, and got rid of it. And I don't think he understood how really. I thought it was very, very, very good. And if you ever can find that guy, I'd love to hear it, because he took all the podcasts down. Looks like Bloodshed might be wrapping up here. Let's see what he's saying.
There we go, dude. Transform into lightning. You sound different. I know it's like my voice is shattered from talking at all night with the community and drinking party. And it's loud here. It's a different microphone. And it's also loud here, so, right? What do you think, Druid? Weighted Sork? Druid, Barb? We'll do Druid. I probably have time for maybe one or two more.
Oh yeah, you can change. I guess you can have a black Druid or a white Druid. So yeah, you can change the appearance too. It's not just like black or white. There's so many different. It looks like you can be all these different colors and race, and there'll be some like attributes and things you can change about them. And I'm interested in that, man. I you know what the customization's gonna be. But anyway, these are all vague comments on Diablo 4. Like I said, I'll have more about it later. Once I learn a little bit more about all this stuff, I'll have more to say, and we'll talk about it more. Very weak initial vague thoughts, and I will talk to you later about Diablo 4. Hope you guys subscribe to the channel Evil Spectrum 3. And I'll see you on Twitch or streaming here on YouTube soon. And I'll have another video out once I find out some more information to react to it.